Hi guys, this is Benny Ricciardi with rotocurve.com, and I'm here today with some tips for you guys on Fantasy Feud. A lot of our members of the RotoCurve community have started playing over on Fantasy Feud recently, so we figured we'd put together a little value tips play on a couple guys that stood out to us. If you haven't been over there to Fantasy Feud yet, you should go check it out. It's a great concept, something different than the other sites offer. You have to use 3 starting pitchers over there, and you have 2 utility spots as well. So on those days where there's 2 first basemen or 2 third basemen that you really want to put into your roster, you don't have to worry about taking one and fading the other, because there is a way that you can fit them both in over on Feud. Now, over at RotoCurve, we're actually offering a great sign-up promo along with the good people over at Fantasy Feud. They're offering a 100% deposit bonus if you sign up with our promo code CURVE, up to $500. And if you do sign up with our promo code CURVE, the RotoCurve community will also throw in an extra $25 on top of that for your sign up, so that you can play around on the site and test it out and tell us what you think of it. A lot of our members have started playing over there. There's a lot of chatter about it in our forums, so you guys should really definitely think about signing up. They have a $500,000 championship coming up in about another month, and there are still 16 seats remaining that you can qualify for. They run a different qualifier almost every day. I think they take off Thursdays because of the split slate, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, a lot of times on the Saturday or Sunday, you'll be able to get into a qualifier as well. And they do something nice that not a lot of the sites do, where they change up the price point. So there'll be qualifiers at a $22 price point, an $11 price point, all the way up to, I think today's qualifier is a $500 price point with only 40 entries. So if you're somebody with a big bankroll and doesn't like being in these large field tournaments, you can take your shots on a day like today. And if you're somebody who, $22, $33, $55 is the level you like to play at, well, you'll be able to put your entries in on the days where they have the qualifiers for the lower dollar buy-ins with a few more people in them. So they try to cater to the entire community out here, and it's definitely something you guys should check out. You can sign up using promo code CURVE, or go over to the RotoCurve community and you can sign up through our links over there. Now, to get to the value plays for today, there are a couple guys who stood out to me. As far as pitchers go, one guy who I think is going to be popular that a lot of people are going to use is going to be Taylor Youngman. Youngman pitches for Milwaukee. He's given up about a 200 batting average to each side of the plate so far this year, and he has an ERA under 3. He's been excellent in his last couple starts. He's been pumping up the strikeouts. He had 1 or 2 rough patches over his last 7, but for the most part, he's been pretty good. He goes up against a pretty weak offense today, and at $134,000, he's a discount to some of the high-priced pitchers that you'd have to really pay up for. The guys like a Harvey going on today. Who else do we have today? Bumgarner, Johnny Cueto. Those are going to be the top, the top price options. So he gives you a little bit of a discount. Another guy who's an extreme discount for starting pitchers, if you're somebody who doesn't mind rolling out a rookie, the Yankees are bringing up Luis Severino today. Severino has been tearing up the minor leagues. His numbers in AAA have been absolutely, insane. His ERA is below 250. He's another guy giving up batting average below 200 or around 200 to both sides of the plate. He's somebody who the Yankees are considering a big part of their future, and somebody who has the potential to be a top of the rotation kind of starter. He's only $70,000 today on Fantasy Feud, which is incredibly cheap for a starting pitcher. He's one of the cheapest starting pitcher options you can find on the board. I think he's going to be pretty popular because you're going to need to put a guy like that in there if you want to pay up for some of the big bats like a Bryce Harper today, who is also in a very good spot, or even a Paul Goldschmidt, who, despite being 0 for 15, is somebody who usually smashes left-handed pitching, and he gets a left-handed pitcher today. Speaking of some value bats that we can look at, you got a guy like Adam Lind going up today. Lind has a 384 WOBA with a 229 ISO number. It's going up against Ian Kennedy, who's given up 23 home runs in 103 at-bats and has struggled more with left-handed bats throughout his career. So getting Lind at a price of only $56,000 here today on Fantasy Feud is a little bit of a steal. Now, he has been banged up. He hasn't been hitting real well. But again, you're not going to get a guy at a low price that has that kind of upside if there aren't some warts to take. And I think that that's the reason why Lind is so cheap today, but I do think he has the upside that could pay it off. Another cheap option that you could look at is a guy like Miguel Sano. He is the cleanup hitter for the Minnesota Twins lately. He bats, bats fourth in that lineup, and he's facing Drew Hutchinson today. Hutchinson has allowed right-handed bats to hit 329 against him with 7 home runs and 52 innings pitched. And Sano's a guy who has a 468 WOBA with a 327 ISO number. Again, he's much better in righty-on-righty situations, even though he is a right-handed bat. So this is a perfect matchup for him today. He also gets to play up in the Rogers Center, which is a great home run hitter's ballpark, and definitely something that you should consider putting in your roster today over on Fantasy Feud. The last guy I want to talk about is Preston Tucker. Preston Tucker is way too cheap for me over on Feud today. He's only $56,000, $56,000 with a 391 WOBA, a 268 ISO, and he's facing Nick Martinez, who is pretty much one of the worst pitchers in Major League Baseball at the moment. So if you can get a guy like Tucker in his preferred lefty-righty split, even though Martinez struggles more with right-handed bats, it's not like he's been dominating lefties throughout his career. He's been giving up just as many hits and just as many home runs to lefties over his career as he has to righties, even though this year right-handed bats seem to be the ones that are really knocking him around. I still think at $56,000, though, Preston is one of the cheapest outfielders you're going to be able to find that hits in the middle of his order and has a good chance for upside today. So I think he's going to be a pretty popular option. I think you're going to see him on a lot of rosters, depending on what tournament you're playing in. The good thing about the qualifier today's qualifier is 525. So if you are playing in that qualifier, there's going to be people spreading it around and stacking up teams. So I think you can use a guy like Preston and expect his ownership to be a little bit lower in a smaller field like that than you'd probably see if it was a field of 1,000 or 2,000 people on a day like today. So those are just some thoughts for our RotoCurve community here. Some guys we looked at and we really liked today that were standing out on Fantasy Feud. We'll be back bringing you our normal videos tomorrow. Josh is actually traveling today. He's on his way back from Chicago. So for those of you in desperate need of pitching help, please feel free to leave a message in the forum, and we'll try to get some information out there for you as well. And Josh should have his pitching video up tomorrow for you guys, and everything will be back to normal. Again, remember, if you haven't signed up over at Fantasy Feud, make sure you get over there. 100% deposit bonus up to $500. And if you use the promo code CURVE, you'll even get an extra $25 from the RotoCurve community. So thank you for your time. As always, this has been Benny Ricciardi with rotocurve.com. Make sure you guys stay classy, DFS.